So I have here the most important card in the entire deck. Okay, just one card, and I guarantee that is the most important card. The card that, if you are reading for yourself, you need to take the most account of whenever it pops up in a reading. However, you probably guessed that there's a little trickery here. It's only the most important card to me. It may be the most important card to you, but it may not. Because I think the most important card to us, if we are using the cards as a tool of self discovery and self awareness, the most important card, sorry to say it, it's the one that you don't like. It's the one that makes you think, "Oh, not again." It's the one that you may struggle to understand. It's the one that may irritate you, and it's the one that you may project onto other people. I've got a few that I'm going to share with you because you've probably got more than one as well. But my key card, my most disliked card in the entire deck, is the Queen of Cups. Now, I'm well aware that the Queen of Cups is not a bad card. There is no such thing. I am well aware that if you associate, embrace, and love the Queen of Cups, that does not make you a bad person. It's just that for me, the Queen of Cups really highlights my shadow self or the things that I don't like about myself. And when I was editing the notes for my book, when I got to the Queen of Cups, I nearly threw my computer across the wall because when I was writing, I was able to get into a sort of a really sort of almost a third person and sort of look at myself really objectively, so that then when I was reading my notes, sometimes I was surprised by what I'd put. So for the Queen of Cups, what I've put is when you in reading from my book, when you see the Queen of Cups, be open to healing, whether from yourself or from another. Often the Queen of Cups nurtures others to mask her own emotional wounds. And there you have my life in a nutshell. I am a full time shaman and tarot reader, and I'm also a single mum for four kids. So I am very much embracing the nurturing role, and I definitely take on clients even when I'm full as a way of avoiding doing my own work. The Queen of Cups is also very intuitive, very psychic, very empathic. I am all of those things, but sometimes I am too much of those things. I struggle to readjust to the everyday world, and I struggle to put boundaries in there. So for me, the most important card is the Queen of Cups. And if I'm reading for myself and she pops up in an advice capacity or a warning, or she becomes a stalker card, I pay attention. But if I'm reading for someone else, then the Queen of Cups will obviously not have that role. My other important cards that I always sort of take note of: Temperance. Temperance is about balance. Temperance is about blending fire. We have numerous fire symbols there. We have the sun glyph on his forehead. We have the upright triangle for fire on his chest. We have the enormous red wings. We have the sun rising or the sun setting, blending fire with water. The water image is perhaps more obvious. I'm very fire. I'm very happy when I've got a challenge. I use stress and adrenaline to get me through difficult times, and I am less good at adjusting into perhaps a more emotional or water sort of state. So, temperance is a card that annoys me when I get it for myself. I guess this is one that a lot of people are going to struggle with. The Five of Pentacles. Classically, it's going to mean issues with money or finances or abundance. It does have other meanings as well, but I think generally it reflects fears of lack. Whether that's lack of emotional support, lack of finances, lack of energy. The Five of Pentacles usually reflects lack. So when I get that in a reading for myself, it is all too easy to look at it, push the cards away, reshuffle, and lay them out again. And the chances are that if I do that the second time round, either the cards don't make sense or the Five of Pentacles is there again, which I'm sure you've experienced yourself and is incredibly annoying. So the Five of Pentacles is an important card for me. And linked to that, I think very sort of similarly is the Nine of Pentacles. I know a lot of people love the Nine of Pentacles. When I look at this card, all I see is the negatives. And that says more about me than the card. So if you struggle to see the fullness of the card, if you struggle to balance the good and the bad in the card, and just about all of the cards do have a good side or a warning or a blessing or something positive there, then that says a lot about you, basically. And I look at the Nine of Pentacles and I see somebody who is isolated. I see somebody who is denying her free will with that hunting bird there. I see somebody who is perhaps hoarding their wealth, using their wealth or their skills as a barrier between them and what they would love to be doing. When I look at this card, I just want to take the bird, take the hood off, and allow it to fly free. And I do, because I am caught very much between these cards sometimes, I do feel that I don't prioritize time to play. I don't prioritize time to do the things that I want to do, which is why when I see the Nine of Pentacles, it usually makes me tut. And I think, well, I'm doing that already. And like I say, this is a very personal way of looking at the cards, and it's really important to understand the traditional wisdom of the cards, and it's really important to be able to understand the images in the cards. All of those are important. But if you're going to use the cards as a tool for self-understanding, you need to understand what the cards are triggering you in you personally. Be able to unlock that. And then the reason this is so very important is because if you are reading for someone else and you get an emotional response to the card, you need to be able to know whether that is your emotional response or whether that gut reaction is to do with the client and the client's readings. So the better that you know how the cards emotionally trigger you, the better that when you are reading for someone else, you can go, yeah, okay, that's like, when I see that card, that's me. I'm going to just put that to one side and I'm going to look at it again with, and the shamanic term would be sort of an empty vessel, or this idea of no emotional entanglement that is mine. But you can't remove the emotional entanglement if you don't know it's there. And often clients or friends that know that I'm a full-time tarot reader and shaman will say, isn't it exhausting, constantly helping other people in trouble? And I'll say, no, absolutely not. What is exhausting is that to be able to do my job, I have to know what shit is mine and what is theirs. And that is an ongoing and continued problem. And I still maintain the most important card in the deck is the one you don't like. For many people, that is going to be the Tower, or the Nine of Swords, or the Five of Pentacles. I think most of us, I do know people that love the Tower, but I think most of us feel a little bit uncomfortable with those cards. But what about the more, shall we say, neutral cards? Like for me with the Queen of Cups or the Nine of Pentacles. For a lot of people, it's going to be the Emperor. Ooh, that's about self-discipline and authority. If you have an issue with the Emperor, it probably means that you have issues about self-discipline. You're either too self-disciplined, or you're not self-disciplined enough, or you project your own power onto authority figures. So just sit with that. If it's the Hierophant, you may consider yourself to not be intelligent. You may think that other people with perhaps a better education or a better mind than you have an advantage. You may worry about your own educational or intellectual abilities. Or you may worry that you are too intellectual and not practical enough. Or you may have some wounding around hierarchy, organizations, institutions, etc. So understanding the meaning of the card and understanding the wound it triggers in you is really powerful. And then The other sorts of powerful cards that are useful, it'd be so nice to finish to just scoot those away and put another one on, is the cards you love. The cards that you look at and you smile and you go, yes, that's what I wanted. And perhaps quite an unusual one for me is the Seven of Wands. I love this card. I love the little detail. If you've got the Rider Waite, do have a look of the shoe and the boot. The artist Pamela Coleman Smith was working on the set design for The Taming of the Shrew when she painted this card, and I love The Taming of the Shrew. I've seen it live, and it's such a funny show. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, and it's the link to Mercutio and the link to an independent mind. It always makes me think of the Nicolas Cage film Wild at Heart and his snakeskin jacket being a symbol of his independence. And that's what this card means to me. That's sort of like, I'm going to do things my way. May not work, you may not like it, but geez, I'm going to do it anyway. And on a very deeply personal level, my shamanic path is very much to do about runes. I'd love to start doing some rune videos here as well. I've got quite a few blogs, but not really videos as yet. And before my teacher would teach me anything about the runes, he very, very annoyingly insisted on teaching me the martial side of our tradition, which is all about fighting with the staff. I was not impressed, but hey, I'd moved from Oxfordshire to the Orkney Isles to learn with this guy, so I was just going to do whatever he said. Really, I just wanted to get to what I thought was the good bit, the shamanic and the rune law. But I spent a lot of hours learning to fight with the staff. So I look at this guy and I'm impressed. I look at his stance and I'm impressed. I look at how he holds the higher ground and I'm impressed. So in a reading, actually, whether it's for me or someone else, this card will always make me smile. So to finish where I started, what's the most important card in the deck? I truly and honestly believe it's the one you don't like.